Israeli forces are on a dawn raid in Jenin. About 300 meters away, an Al Jazeera reporter drops to the ground. Journalist Shireen Abu Akleh is rushed to hospital. Doctors pronounce her DOA. Al Jazeera and many other media outlets blame and report Israeli forces as being responsible for her death. I'm Grant de Graaf, and I'm going to show you exactly how it happened. Asif Zamir is the Consul General for Israel in New York. He's concerned that media's rush to judgment is premature.
Central media, social media, politicians in the United States and all over the world claiming it's Israel before we had any proof of it. While the Palestinian corner said, we've examined the bullet, it's too close to call, we don't know yet.
Al Jazeera says its journalist Shireen Abu Akleh has been shot dead by the Israeli Defense Forces in Jenin.
Israeli forces have shot dead Al Jazeera's journalist Shireen Abu Akleh.
Richard Medhurst, an independent journalist, adds flame to the fire.
This is what Israel thinks of journalists, right? They will literally blow your face off if you cover their crimes. And they know that they're journalists.
Emily
right?
Schreider, a social media influencer, provides some insight on how cartoons are being used to portray the event.
So what we're seeing in Palestinian social media and media through these cartoons that are also being disseminated on social media is a misrepresentation of the facts, or at best, assuming a narrative that hasn't necessarily been proven.
I-24 airs commentary with Dan Perry, former Associated Press Middle East editor.
Well, I have to say, the fact that Palestinians are refusing a joint investigation, and as far as I know, we're refusing an autopsy, which would very clearly reveal which side's bullet killed the journalist, strongly suggests that they're not looking for the truth.
The preconceived notion that the IDF killed Shireen is ludicrous. No one will probably ever know for certain who fired the shot that took Shireen's life. But one thing is certain: Israel bashing, blood libels and antisemitism are not going away anytime soon. Isabella Khazan, an associate director of Honest Reporting in Quebec, weighs in.
So I'm pretty sure murdering 3 Jews last week with an axe was against international law, but it seems as though international law, international inquiries aren't applied evenly when it comes to Israel. The enemies of Israel will always use any tool, whether it be international law, to leverage their hate or their bias against Israel. I've heard of the term Mizrahi washing, or adding washing to anything else.
So Noah Tishby, Israel's special officer combating anti-Semitism, provided some facts.
The International Federation of Journalists, the IFJ, conducted a report about the number of death cases of journalists in war zones between 1990 and 2020. According to the report, 2,658 journalists have been killed in that period of time.
So which part of the world would that be?
340 were killed in Iraq, 178 in Mexico, 160 in the Philippines, 138 in Pakistan, and 116 in India.
But what's different between the death of other journalists and the Al Jazeera case in Israel?
In any of the other deaths, we did not see such vitriol, hateful, horrific reactions and rhetoric as we've seen by the international community, social media, celebrities, and the United Nations towards Israel. And this is what we call double standard.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
This is it. And it's purely rooted in sometimes subconscious anti-Semitism, anti-Jewish racism.